around you.
Good evening and welcome to another edition of Money Talk with Melanie. I'm your business diva, Melanie Collette, broadcasting live via SHR Media from beautiful Cape May, New Jersey. It is beautiful, but it is freezing here in Cape May, New Jersey. And welcome everybody to the Facey chat who are piling in. Welcome. I hope everyone had a fantastic Thanksgiving Turkey Day yesterday. It's just, the holidays are good for the memes, if nothing else. Am I right? I'm excited today because my guests are Christine Perakis, Esquire. She's going to talk to us about how to create a record-breaking year for our business in 2019. So I'm looking forward to that conversation. And then in hour two, we're going to speak with Dr. Rod Wallace, or he goes by Rod Wallace, PhD, regarding drowning in our potential as an American society. How can we survive digital technology? But who really wants to? I'm just kidding. Doug, this is I'm a recovering techie, but not like willing to recover. I want to say hi to Doug and Richard and Jonathan and David in the Facey chat. Hey, what's shaking, guys? I missed you guys. I was not on the air last week and my voice is still like tiny bit scratchy. I was getting over a sinus infection and I got tickets to Hall Notes. Let's be honest. A free ticket to Hall Notes like fell on my lap. And was I really not going? Yes, I was going. So that and my voice was not up to par, and you can still hear, like I was afraid that if I talked for a long period of time, and those of you who are used to hearing my voice can probably hear that it's just not quite as strong as it usually is. But it is here, and to my students, chagrin. My voice is not as strong as it usually is, but welcome. I missed you guys. I was like, I can't wait to talk with my audience today. I'm so excited. And I have two really good guests. That summit that I went to, that I was invited to a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, man, I met so many great people. And actually, Christine Perakis, Esquire, and Rod Wallace, PhD, are two of the people that I met, two of the great people that I met at the National Publicity Summit in Manhattan. Hey, Maurice Delk, how are you? You behaving yourself, young man? Staying out of Facey jail? For those of you in SHR Media, in SHR Media Land, or you're listening to this as a podcast, if you are missing this live, I always stream the show live on Facebook. And that way my listeners get to ask my guests questions, which is cool, and interact with me if they like. Hello, Betty. How are you? It's still a wonderful voice, Doug. Aw, Doug's got to be one of my biggest fans, I'll tell you. He keeps my self-esteem right in there. Hey, Louisiana. How you doing, Betty? And Trey, hello. Absence must make the heart grow fonder. Because I'll tell you, the Facey chat is just filling up. I'm so excited to see you guys. But yeah, my voice is kind of a mess. And it was election season was not too long ago, and I was really super busy. And now, hey, Chad. And now, of course, it's holiday season. So everyone's, so it's everyone who was working on elections and all that stuff. Now we're all celebrating our wins and licking our wounds from our losses. But not my county, because the county where I ran the call center killed. Just saying, like we wiped the floor with our opponent. But that's another, that's another, not that matters, but it really does. Anyway, today is money-wise. Today is Black Friday. I take offense to that. Very offended. I'm kidding. I don't take I don't. But today is African American Friday, or Black. Actually, doesn't stand for that at all. It's just, so I'm just really stealing jokes from the Facebook posts for the last 2 days. That's really what I'm doing. But it is Black Friday, and Cyber Monday is coming right upon us this coming Monday. The two biggest shopping days of the year. They're considered crucial for, the retail industry. Every single year is considered crucial. And of course, every year, reporters and the media say this year is more crucial than any other year, and this year is no different. Now, according to Adobe Analytics, we've already spent $1.7 billion. By 5 p.m. on Thanksgiving Day, we had already spent $1.75 billion. That's a 28% bump from last year. So that's good stuff for the economy, even though the stock market is kind of ugly and shaky right now. But also, you have to remember about the stock market that we're due for a correction, like long overdue, cyclically, and even as far as the economy is concerned, how long we've been going through an uptick. So I would relax a little bit. I hate to sound like the typical financial consultant, but I'm going to say what we typical financial consultants say, which is, it's long-term investing. Don't check your statement every 5 minutes. It's going to make yourself crazy. And, keep an eye out. Apple apparently didn't do well at all today, but it's also cell phone season. Lots of people are getting new cell phones. I'm trying to be a good girl and not do this. I used to be. Now, those of you guys who know me know I'm really techie. I'm into the technology. I teach technology on a collegiate and secondary level, and plus I just love it. But my excuse to buy new technology is because I teach it. But I'm still on the iPhone 7. And of course, it's carrying a dinosaur. It's a relic. I mean, I'm a computer professor. So how can I be carrying this iPhone 7? So I might cruise by the store this weekend. Maybe. But cell phone, I think Apple's probably going to come back. But a lot of people are also realizing, too, I think, as far as the tech industry is concerned, that, not much changes from one model to the other. From an Apple perspective, since Steve Jobs died, nothing spectacular really happens with your phone to where you're like, let me spend another couple $100 on a new one. At least not for me. And maybe I'm just getting old. And Doug Posson at Facey Chat is right. You got to ride the roller coaster. It's not fun. But you do have to ride the roller coaster. If your portfolio is continuing to go up and up and up and up and up and up and up, you're in Bernie Madoff territory, for years on end. I'm just saying. There's supposed to be dips. There's supposed to be corrections. So everybody breathe. It's going to be okay. It's going to be cool. Just chill. Now, Walmart, you should know this, Walmart, Target, and Best Buy are modifying their gift card programs. They're trying to lessen fraud over this holiday season. Their attorney, this is really nice, their attorneys announced this. The Attorney General, actually, of New York and Pennsylvania announced this. This is a result of a year-long initiative to hinder fraudulent card use. People are just not afraid to go to jail, apparently. Aside from the moral reasons not to do this, I'm not trying to do time. What about McDonald's French fries? You get locked up, no McDonald's French fries. That's not incentive enough not to lead a life of crime, like it is for me. I'm just saying. But I digress. The changes include lessening single transaction purchase limits and curbing the amount that can be loaded onto the cards. Also banning use of store-branded gift cards to purchase other gift cards. Well, that's kind of a duh kind of thing. Why would you be allowed to do that? I don't know. I think that's kind of a... All right. So anyway, I've been going for 2 weeks, which means I have 2 weeks worth of Ron Edwards notebooks, one this hour and one the next hour. You're listening to Money Talk with Melanie. My hour one guest is Christine Perakis, Esquire. She's going to talk to us about creating record-breaking year for your business in 2019. And up next is a brand new, actually it's last week's Ron Edwards. No, it's the brand new Ron Edwards notebook coming right up.
As we approach Thanksgiving and the Christmas season, both of which have deep Christian roots, it is a bit disheartening to witness yet another episode of leftist bigotry against good works. Hello, I'm Ron Edwards. On today's page from the Edwards Notebook, community activists and leftist city council members in Pittsburgh have signed a letter calling for Chick-fil-A to be booted out as sponsor of the annual Pittsburgh Kids Marathon because of CEO Dan Cathy's Christian beliefs that include marriage between a man and a woman and that LGBTQIA choices don't align with the Word of God. Additionally, Pittsburgh government school officials have threatened to join the boycott unless Chick-fil-A is forced to meet their demands and walk away. despite the fact that not one individual from Chick-fil-A has ever uttered a word against anyone or their lifestyle choices. The bigoted leftists of Pittsburgh are so sensitive they can't stomach a Christian organization doing good works in the community. My, how times have changed. Well, don't miss the Ron Edwards Experience worldwide on AmericaMatters.us Fridays at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern, Saturdays at 6 p.m. Mountain, 8 p.m. Eastern on Utah's KYAH 540 a.m. and Sunday midnights on the Talk America Radio Network. I'm Ron Edwards.
Ron Edwards, the new voice of America.
Sponsored by the Tri-County Liberty Coalition.
Making a living can be tough these days with so many jobs going overseas. If you love numbers and puzzles and want job security, you can become a tax specialist with an amazing 6-month tax course from Tax Mama. Operate your own tax practice locally or anywhere in the world where there are American taxpayers. It's a great way to write off your trips to visit family for months at a time. Everything you need to pass the IRS 3 special enrollment examinations is included in this course. Visit irsexams.school, and if you need more than 6 months, that's okay. Take your time. You're in the course until you pass the exams or until you unsubscribe and reject Tax Mama's emails.
Right now, you can get the credit you deserve. Just visit MrCreditRepair.biz. Let their expert credit repair specialist remove late payments, charge-offs, collections, even old bankruptcies fast and easy. That's MrCreditRepair.biz. Why go anyplace else? Increase your credit score today. At Mr. Credit, you always get a quality service, all at our everyday discounted price. Stop getting turned down for cars, credit cards, or even new homes. Visit MrCreditRepair.biz today. That's MrCreditRepair.biz. Your credit repair is our #1 priority.
Welcome back. You're listening to Money Talk with Melanie. I'm your business diva, Melanie Collette, coming to you live via SHR Media. And my first hour guest today is Christine Perakis, Esquire. She's going to talk to us today about creating record-breaking sales year for 2019. Very excited to talk to her. Met her about a month ago in Manhattan at the National Publicity Summit. Very excited to speak to her this evening. And without further ado, Ms. Christine Perakis, how are you?
Hey, I'm great, and welcome to everybody who's listening. Thank you so much for having me on the show today, Melanie.
We're
all waking up from a really good Thanksgiving, I hope.
Oh, yes. Thanksgiving was very good. We actually turned it into a slumber party, and I literally live 5 minutes away from where I spent Thanksgiving.
So you can roll out of bed, roll into the table, and roll back to bed when it was over.
Pretty much. It was very nice. I hope you did as well. Listen, before we move on to the meat of the conversation, please tell the audience about your background.
Okay, well, professionally, I've been a lawyer, a business advisor, a C-suite executive, and an entrepreneur in 10 businesses that I've started, grown, and expanded on my own and with partners. So I'm just like most of the people on this in this audience, our listeners, that I've started businesses, I've grown businesses, and I've experienced every kind of business challenge. I've even been a professional rescuer on the mountains as a certified mountain rescuer, as an EMT, and a licensed 100-ton boat captain. So, and the businesses, boats, and people are my thing. And there I was, just over a year ago, alone in my home in the Caribbean, in the British Virgin Islands, island of Tortola, when the most powerful storm ever to hit the Atlantic Basin came through, blew the roof off my house, left me buried alive, trapped in a wind coffin with monster winds howling outside, and no one was coming, which is the great irony when you're a professional rescuer, always taking care of other people, and finding that I personally wasn't able to get rescued. I didn't have anybody coming. I had to become what I call my own storm warrior. And in that experience of total helplessness and uncertainty about whether I was going to come out of this, I really redoubled my commitment to being of service, to making this experience purposeful. And so I'm committed to showing people how they can become their own storm warrior And even if you haven't been in a natural disaster of any kind, and let's face it, most of us haven't, thank God, but we've all been stuck in our businesses. We've been worrying about cash flow, whether personally or professionally. Who doesn't relate to having to pool credit cards together to make a purchase, or, you know, having a credit line that just disappears and you don't know where the money's coming from, or being in such a situation with your own personal finances you can't make the mortgage payment. I've experienced all of that.
Wow.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, indeed, and it happens all the time. And I think, which is kind of, you know, when you hear about how people are like, oh, you know, you talk about the wealthy and this, that, and the other, and business owners having all this money, people have no idea the struggle of entrepreneurs and what it takes to maintain a business.
No, Elon Musk says it's like starting a business. Starting a business is like staring into the abyss while eating glass.
Yes.
It can feel just like that, right? When you're in a business, growing and trying to have enough cash, have enough support, have enough resources to get, you know, more of what you wanted to do, which is hopefully financial freedom, right?
Indeed. And then sometimes even when it's super successful, that can make it even worse, because then you're kind of trying to play catch up. It's like it's a good thing and a bad thing, right?
I've been there too, right? My last business enterprise, we started as a 100% equity funded startup and grew to a $10 million a year business in 4 years. And I was in the C-suite as the COO and general counsel for the company. And we had this huge amount of success. It grew our team to 150 people, and we had a $1 million payroll. And I can't tell you how many weeks I was in a nail-biting situation hoping that we were going to make payroll.
Exactly.
Growth can be a Category 5 level experience. That's what I call it, when you're starting a business or growing a business where it just feels like literally life-threatening.
Right.
Life of the business, the life of the individuals.
Exactly, because whenever you grow, even though growth is good, it takes capital to maintain that. You want to continue to grow. You want to continue to work on that level. It's really, it can be a daunting task, particularly if not handled correctly. You know, so
right.
You know, it can really be tough. So you've handled, you know, real life catastrophes, and you've also handled business catastrophes. But today we're going to focus on how we can create a record-breaking year for 2019. So we're focused on a little bit of planning. We're sitting here now in November, staring down the barrel, so to speak, of December, and thinking about, okay, how are we going to set up our business so that we can start killing it in 2019? And what are your suggestions?
So this is the perfect time to be talking about this, because we've got a year ahead of us, and we've got what's most of the last quarter left to make some really serious inroads into having a record-breaking year. And I want to talk today about the 3 most critical, fundamental things we can do, that if we can do immediately, things that we can develop as habits, and things that we can take action on over the next couple of weeks that are going to separate our listeners and us as business owners from all the competition out there.
I love it.
So let's start with doing what I call turning up the thermostat. We want to turn any challenges we're experiencing right now into opportunities and really understand our tolerance for adversity. So it's a thing called a self-concept. We all have self-esteem, self-image, and a self-concept. And the most important of these is the self-concept, because it's based on how you were loved, how you were rewarded, how you were criticized as a child. And we have a self-concept about everything. How much money we have, how much we weigh, how satisfied we expect to be in our life. So when we go through an experience and we look back on our lives, everything stays within 10% of what is our self-concept. So if you set the thermostat, let's say at 60, and you're never going to get outside of 10% of 60, you're never going to experience those beautiful, warm, summer days in the Caribbean like I've been able to create, because that's where you're comfortable. That's what's familiar. And you haven't learned the techniques to train yourself out of keeping that thermostat where it's comfortable and familiar, which might be a little bit uncomfortable in how your results are, what your money show, what your success is. So, since we all know, go ahead.
No. I was thinking about what you were saying, and I heard a statistic, and it was a sales/physical statistic. But what they were saying is, whenever you're ready to give up on whatever level that applies, you have about 30% left to go. Like wherever
that's 3 feet from gold, right? Napoleon Hill.
Exactly. You have about 30% left. So whenever you're thinking, okay, I'm ready to stop, I need to give up now, keep going. Like give 30% more because you actually have it. And I was like, whoa, that's deep.
It's a really hard thing to do because that's when most entrepreneurs give up, like you said, 3 feet from where they are. It comes from an old story about a miner in gold rush days where he just, spent all this time digging, he never found gold, finally gave up and sold his plot. And 3 feet later, they found the strike of gold that they were looking for. And that's what we have to understand is, what are we telling ourselves about what we have right now? It's not working, we don't have enough, it's not comfortable, and this is what I'm used to, it never works out when I try anything, everything I've done isn't working. These are the thoughts we tell ourselves, and we usually have our thoughts as a direct result of what we're seeing in our bank accounts or in our profitability, if it's business or mortgages or our cash flow. We let the results tell us how to think and feel. But if we flip that switch and we start training our thoughts and our feelings, which are a result of what we're experiencing around us, and that tells us how to feel about it, then we can have actions that actually are dictated by our thoughts, which then lead to success. And it becomes, we're the little engine that could. Instead of, wow, we didn't have a good month last month, or this year didn't meet our financial goals, and it really sucks going into 2019, not knowing where to go from here. Not having something that I can control, and really our thoughts are the only thing we can control. And the language that we use to talk about it.
That is true. And we tell ourselves all kinds of things that are not true. I mean, all the time. Right. And here's the thing. Here's the thing that kills me about the fact that we do that. We say it to ourselves as if it's gospel, although time and time again, it has not been gospel. It has proved us wrong, and we still believe it.
Exactly.
Exactly. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I had clients who've gotten stuck. They're in a partnership that is not working for them. It's not aligned, and it's becoming a liability, and they can't get away from it, and they end up feeling stuck in that situation, just like we've all been in our businesses and in our lives. And by changing what we're comfortable with, like I don't want to have confrontation, I don't want to have the uncomfortable discussion with this person, I don't want to ask it to be different. When you flip that switch, all of a sudden the partnership realigns, whether they stay or go. New partnerships come in, joint ventures, cash flow. The business tripled for my client just by making some changes in what he was willing to tolerate. Wow.
Now you're saying something there when you say that, changing what you're willing to tolerate. I'm just sitting and absorbing that because I think that applies not just in business. Like, I feel like that applies.
Absolutely.
That applies in a whole lot of places.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, this person is treating me this way. I don't feel good in this relationship. He's not giving me what I want, or she's not giving me what I want. And instead of, what do I ask for? What do I need? What do I stand for? What am I giving to be able to get back? Who am I being in this situation? What can I do? And we can just flip a switch, literally catch ourselves in what we say about a situation and change the entire energy, tenor, emotions in the room. And so flatten it out.
And so you would say that that's the first thing we do is check our thermostat, see where we are, see if we need to adjust our tolerances for adversity, because if you're non-confrontational in a business, that's kind of hard. And I think I probably am one of those people. I don't like confrontation at all. Like,
Sure.
now there are some people who are going to say not based on your social media, but I don't like. But that's different. I don't like confrontation in my personal life. Social media is
people
different.
closest to you, right? Your inner circle.
Right. Like in my inner circle, I do not like drama. I do not like it in my personal life at all. Now, Mike Fitzpatrick, who actually will be on the show, I think the week after, either next week or the week after, he's our cybersecurity expert. He's in the Facey chat, and he says applies to security, and most CEOs aren't doing enough to protect their businesses and financial well-being for ownership, employees, and shareholders. And actually, that's what we're going to talk about when he's on the show. I'm going to check my calendar and see when he's going to be on the show. It's soon, but that is very true. That's a very good point. On the 30th, he's going to be on the show. But that's a very good point. What he brings up, because talk about a source of contention. How secure your business is, and the other thing. Protecting employees, because who of us doesn't, check our email at work every now and then? I think we probably all do check our personal email at work. And if you check your personal email at work and there are security issues, you could possibly have security issues, particularly if you have your own computer, hooked up to your business's Wi-Fi. So I think, and those, when somebody like Mike goes into a business and says, hey, you need to change this, that, or the other, I would imagine that's there's going to be some conflict there.
Right?
Especially since it's go ahead, I'm sorry.
Well, let's talk about a second game-changing shift that we can make, and something that we can do more immediately, because this other piece is going to take some habits to be developed, right?
Right.
And we got to start getting vigilant. But this next piece is about becoming your own weather forecaster, right? Like a weatherman. And it's being able to create an actionable, visionary framework. And I guarantee you, most businesses don't do this. I've started businesses without a business plan. I've started businesses with no idea who we were and what we stood for. And I've helped others and started other businesses where we've gotten crystal clear about it and had extraordinary results. So your first job as a business owner is to keep your eye on the trends, right? That's the forecasting part. What's happening in the industry, with your competitors, with your internal team, with your customers. What's changing about all of that? Because it is constantly changing. And then it's getting really clear about who you are and why you do what you do. Because our values are unchanging. Our core values of who we are and why we do, and our core purpose for being is also unchanging. And if our commitment is to be crystal clear about it and to live by those things and to only align ourselves with people who share those and to always be committed no matter what the market's telling us. So if the market isn't saying, yeah, we don't want, what you're selling, but what you're selling is central to who you are, then you find a new market. Or you find new customers that want what you have because they're out there. And so what I like to tell people is that we develop a core ideology. When we have that, we're no longer complacent, and we live by those values, and then we can set goals around our values. You've probably heard of SMART goals, right?
Yes.
Melanie,
Yep.
Specific, measurable, aligned,
Yes.
realistic, reasonable, and time-based.
Yes.
Right, but the thing in the middle there, aligned,
Yes.
is something that gets forgotten about. But it's a really deep exercise to go into. That we understand specific and measurable. That's not hard to do.
Right.
I want to weigh 10 pounds less, or I want to be this much, I want to weigh this much by this date. And we're all talking after the first of the year, right?
Of course.
And then it has to be realistic. I'm not going to lose 50 pounds in 2 weeks, and I know the time that's going to happen. But what really matters is, am I going to starve myself to do it? Am I going to hurt people in the process? Am I going to piss off everyone around me because I'm not eating? We're not doing things in a healthy way that's really good self-care to lose that weight. And it's the same in business. What are we going to do? Who do we step on? What values do we cast aside? Who do we step over or on to get where we want to go? And that's outside of our value system. If we don't have a clear, stated, communicated core value system, core ideology, which includes values and purpose, and then we don't have a team around us that's aligned with that, there's no way we can get where we want to go.
No, that makes a whole lot of sense. And it to me, it helps a lot in decision making, kind of knowing where your lines are, because you have a baseline to work from. You're like, okay, some people, whether or not something's legal, doesn't have a bearing on whether or not they do it. For me, it does. So, is it legal?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me find out.
But it's even deeper. There's a purpose for why you're on speaking about your principles every day, right? That's important to you, and that's what you live by. It
is, and that is important to know. But people have an aversion. One, to even mapping that out, verbalizing it, putting it down on paper, incorporating it into their business in any real way, because it feels too much like work, and it can be tedious. And I think that the hardest part about the business is, soon someone says business plan, people are like, what? I have to do a business plan? You mean I have to? But yeah, you plan everything else that you have to do. You don't take a trip without planning what direction you're going to go in. So you should have some kind of plan. How are you going to?
Well, that's what I love to do with my clients, because, when you say business plan, right, I start falling asleep, right? We think about, it's 50 pages, it's a bunch of writing, it's homework. Who wants to do homework? We hate it. And even if we did actually write a business plan, we're going to shove it in a drawer as soon as we hit the ground running, because it's not keeping up with us.
No, it's going to change.
Right, there's nothing in it that's actionable. And so when I work on this with my clients, we're working together to create an actionable visionary framework. So we might do a vision statement, but it's going to have action. This is the difference between writing a mission statement and going on a mission. And so our business plans are one page. It's a one-page strategic business plan that maps out an entire trajectory to our big, hairy, audacious goals 25 years from now, that are so big and they scare us a little, right? We have a 50 to 75% chance of success, but we're willing to stretch and we're willing to commit to changing the world in this way. And that's how we get excitement and build life around a business plan. That's something we can get behind, because it can be changed, it can be revisited, and it's got an entire roadmap built into it that has the long term, the medium, the short, and the immediate. And that's what really turns me on.
For sure. And you have to be willing to be that flexible with it, is the thing. Right. You really do. Particularly go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, please.
No, I was going to say, particularly...
We're so excited about this stuff, aren't we?
Yeah. Particularly as technology changes and the market changes and things like that, you have to be, really flexible no matter what it is that you're into, and keep on top of that stuff, which can be really difficult. We are up against a break. That's the only other reason why I interrupted you, because I wanted to get the opportunity to say that we're because we're up against a break at 5:40. This is a really good conversation. I'm very excited to have Christine Perakis, Esquire, on. She's talking to us about how we can create a record-breaking year next year in 2019 with our businesses, our small, medium-sized businesses, all of us that have businesses and are entrepreneurs. I want you to listen carefully to what she has to say. We're going to take a quick break. Thank you for all of those who have joined us. And by the way, I have a brand new sponsor whose ad is not done yet. I actually am voicing the ad for them, so it's taking a little bit longer to do it than it usually does. But send out cards. Sendoutcards.com. I don't want to say this wrong. I probably am saying it incorrectly, so let me make sure that I say this right. before he kills me. But it was John Campbell Biz, and I'm going to put the link in the Facey chat for you guys. But he is a brand new, here we go. He's a brand new, spanking brand new sponsor, and I am very, very, very excited to have him on, and his ad is going to be done very shortly. We'll be back. You're listening to Money Talk with Melanie. I'm your business diva, Melanie Collette. We'll be back in a few minutes. Welcome to this week's Money Talk Minute. I'm your business diva, Melanie Collette. This week's Money Talk Minute asks the question, what's a reverse mortgage? A reverse mortgage permits homeowners that are age 62 and older to convert their home equity into cash without paying taxes or without paying any monthly payments. Reverse mortgages are used the way typical mortgage loans are used to pay off debt, for college, education, and things like that, or for some home improvements. There are two types of reverse home mortgages. You have the adjustable home mortgages, which have 5 different types of payment options, and then you have the fixed reverse home mortgages that have lump sum payments. Eligibility for reverse home mortgages includes but are not limited to making sure that your home is owned completely outright, making sure that you don't have any outstanding federal debt, and of course you have to be 62 or older. On the upside, reverse mortgages can free up some extra cash. On the downside, reverse home mortgages have lots and lots of extra fees, so exercise caution. And that's this week's Money Talk Minute. I'm your business diva, Melanie Collette. Remember, Money Talk with Melanie airs every Friday on SHR Media and streaming live on Facebook at 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, and 4 p.m. Mountain Time.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, this is Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Join us for The Right Way with Shannon and Mike, Monday through Thursday, from 7 to 9 a.m., right here on SHR Media.
Why are they joining us?
For fun things like sports, politics,
Oh, maybe some news and entertainment?
and all kinds of other things.
Money and recipes and events, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so join us Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m., here on SHRmedia.com.
From a public locker inside a dilapidated Long Island rail station comes a show designed to piss off liberals using truth, facts, and ridicule. The Lid Radio Show, featuring the conservative voice from the People's Republic of New York, the Lid himself, Jeff Dunitz. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com. At Lid Radio, we fight for the truth, justice, and a good kosher T-bone. If you don't listen, Hillary Clinton might sneak into your bedroom in her housecoat late at night and blame you for her election loss. It's the Lid Radio Show with Jeff Dunitz. Girls, Carry Girl Gear is here. More and more women every day are concealed carrying, participating in competitive shooting, and getting firearms training. It's not a boys' club anymore, and we don't have to shop in their stores anymore either. Finally, a cool and unique clothing line just for women. Dope tees and hats for the patriotic concealed carry and 2A girls. So what are you waiting for? Go check out carrygirlgear.com today.
Welcome back. You're listening to Money Talk with Melanie. I'm your business diva, Melanie Collette. Our first hour guest today is Christine Perakis, Esquire. She's talking to us about how to create a record-breaking year in your business in 2019. Very excited to talk to her. Some very good tips that she is informing our guests about today, our audience about today. So I'm excited to have her on the show to talk to us. So we were talking about Actually, I'm trying to recall what we were talking. I actually wanted to ask you a question before we left. I thought of this question. Are there any common mistakes that people make in their business that you would say you definitely want to avoid for 2019?
Well, there's, thousands, right? Let's say
Right.
starting from the beginning, right?
Right.
And I'm sure I've made them all. So starting without a real strategic roadmap for your business, right? Or going into an expansion without a strategic roadmap, which is something that I'm offering to your audience to be able to call me and have a 10X Your Business call where you come in and learn about how to outpace your competition and leave with a strategic roadmap for the next, 6 months of your year, how to create that. So people, go in victimized before they even get started. So that's a really important mistake we make. Another one is a lack of communication, where people don't spend the time to communicate what their core values are, why we're here in business, why this is so important to you, and really discern so you find out who's on board with you. Because some people are there just for the paycheck and they don't care about the mission that you're on. But who is, are those important functions that they're serving? Are they going to be able to serve the business? So not knowing who you are and where you're going and why is critical mistake people make.
So you do think that, I've always wondered about that with employers, and I guess having my own business, but I'm mostly a solo act. I have some partners and people on my team that I use on a project basis, but for the most part, I'm a solo act. And whenever I've been asked on an interview or whatever, they ask you like how invested you are in that particular area of business or that particular industry. I always kind of thought that question was kind of lame because most people are just there because they want a job. But what you're saying,
right.
But what I hear you saying is that we really do need as entrepreneurs to make sure that the people we hire and the people that we work with are really invested in whatever industry it is that we're in.
Well, because you're not there for a job, right? A job would be way easier than doing what we do.
Yes.
Getting a paycheck and going home at night, not having a constant worry, not constant struggle, financial ease and certainty, all that stuff would be so much easier than what we do, which is constantly striving, constantly trying to contribute. So when you have that choice to be made, you have to know why, so you can say to people, are you on board with this?
That's very true. That's an excellent point. And I mean, I knew why they asked the question. Like, I get it. But I always thought to myself, seriously, like, has this person ever, like, gone for a job before? Why do you think I'm here?
It's like, you're not there for the industry or to talk about money. You're there to change the world in the way that it's important to you.
True.
And people, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but the whole idea, like Walt Disney formed his company to make people happy. The whole point of Disney's work in the world in his lifetime was to make people happy. It had nothing to do with movies and amusement parks and merchandise and all that stuff. So how we make people happy is what became the business of Disney. And people who want to get on board with that are going to be part of it. They're very particular about who they hire and who they bring on board, right? There's rules. It's very structured.
It is.
So they work really hard for that.
And doing...
But, the mission...
You're right. And the mission and the purpose, if you serve the mission and the purpose, everything, it sounds like a cliche to people say in business, but it's very true. I mean, Money Talk with Melanie started out as kind of a hobby and turned into a business. Like, just
right.
Because it just happened. Like, it started to be like, okay, you need to charge money for this. Right. And people were asking, well, how much would it cost for me to do this? How much would it cost for me to, for you to advertise my business on your show? And when someone first approached me about it, I was like, huh? I don't really...
Well, that's the thing that gets confusing for people, right? Because when we do something you're so passionate about, I would do what I do for the love of doing it.
Right.
I would if I didn't need money, right? But money is how we exchange things, and we exchange value. So that's a problem that solopreneurs have quite often, right? Is how do I go from doing what I'm passionate and love to do, what I really want to do to give to people, and how do I reconcile that with my need for money and to value myself at the level that I deserve? right? And what is that? That goes back to the self-concept conversation we were having earlier, which is, do you value yourself enough to ask people to pay for what you give?
Right.
And we have to. That's the nature of our culture. That's the structure of our society.
Very true. That is very true. And it certainly did. I started out as a radio show, and then I was like, you know what? Why don't I get licensed to do this? Because since, people were asking me, this is literally how it happened. People started asking me other questions and financial advice. And I was approached by a company about becoming a professional. And that's how it happened. It literally happened in like the wrong order. Like I had the show first because I had the education and apparently the charisma to do media, and then someone heard my show and said, why don't you get licensed to do this professionally since you already do it, and why don't you make more money doing it professionally? And I was like,
I would say
grand idea.
It became that easy for you because you were so on purpose with what you're meant to do, which is to reach people, to provide a platform for people to grow themselves and to be able to heal this money conversation in the world that is so destructive. That we have so much energy around money, positive, negative, shame, all kinds of stuff around it. And you're here on purpose.
It's
and
true.
That's when it becomes easy. Doors open.
True. Super easy. And to just, I'm so fortunate in that I get to marry all the things that I'm passionate about, technology, money, politics, policy, like all in one forum, and people actually listen to me. My students, I teach financial literacy also. At the high school level, and when I tell my students that I have a show and I get to talk to economists and entrepreneurs like yourself, and they actually see that it's real, and one of my students was like, oh my gosh, you have so many downloads on iTunes. I was like, yeah, it's a real show, dude. Like, what?
That's like healing the world, right? You're teaching people something so important. You're healing the world around this. It's so important.
It is, and it's very exciting. So listen, tell the audience how they can reach out to you. Is there anything that you're offering right now that you'd like to tell the audience about?
I would. I would love to give everybody a chance to 10x their business results right now and to build a 2019 roadmap that is going to take them to where they want to go, beyond even, if they follow this program. So I'm offering that a complimentary call just to mention the show, and we will create that strategic roadmap that you need for 2019. And if you're a part of the show and we want to take it to the next level, my Business Coaching Academy that I have is an online platform, and I get $297 a month for that, and includes group coaching for an additional $500 a month, and I would give that to your audience for $97 a month, or for $997, a $10,000 package.
Excellent.
So that's what I want to offer up to the clients,
Excellent.
to the audience. And yes, and they can take a look at my book, The Entrepreneur's Essential Roadmap, the bestseller on Amazon, and ChristinePerakis.com.
I am actually.
We can put that URL in the website.
Yep, I am actually posting all of your links in the Facey chat, and I want I'm actually doing it for two reasons. I want to make sure that I remember to put it in the podcast when I post that as well. I wanted to make sure that I did that, and make sure you email me that offer, because I want to make sure that the listeners know. What I usually do is just mention that there's an offer if they listen to the show.
Right. Well, I'll just make it easy, because that's too complicated to have to figure out where in the show that was discussed.
Right. Oh, that's true. That is very true. That's true.
And I just want to finish with this, because I know we're running out of time.
Sure.
There is a moment when I was finally getting my rescue, right? I was getting off the island and back into, land of plenty, civilization. And I was sitting on the dock and waiting for the ferry to come to get me off onto the continental United States. And I pulled out my ukulele and was just playing music, feeling so torn about leaving and what I experienced. And this double rainbow came out. And it was such an amazing moment. Like, I'm sitting under the double rainbow, playing music, getting my, boat, my ship is coming in. And
I love it.
I knew I was going to be okay. And that's what people will get when they know they're going to be okay, when they've got a plan for the future, when they have a roadmap that they understand, that's crystal clear, and that's totally aligned, that they can share in the world. That will be a game changer for them, and you can picture that day coming.
Certainly can. I love it. Thank you so much for being on the show today. You did a fantastic job.
Thank you so much, Melanie. It's been a pleasure. I hope everybody has a fantastic 2019, and if there's anything I can do for your listeners to help them get there, I'm here.
Absolutely, absolutely. That was Christine Perakis, Esquire, from Christine Perakis Global. Fantastic guest that I met at the National Publicity Summit in Manhattan. Creating a record-breaking year for your business in 2019. Fantastic advice. Check out all the links I posted in the Facey chat. BusinessBreakthroughPro.com. I want to make sure I say all of them. ChristinePerakis.com. That's Christine, ChristineE, Perakis, Perakis.com. And then finally, CoachingProsperity.com. Check out all those links. She is a fantastic business coach and just a fantastic guest. Thank you so much for all your information. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Melanie. Have a great rest of the holiday weekend, everybody.
Thank you. You too. You are listening to Money Talk with Melanie. I'm your business diva, Melanie Collette. That was hour 1. Stay tuned for hour 2, which will feature Rod Wallace, PhD. He's going to talk to us about drowning in potential, how American society can survive digital technology. I want to thank everybody in the Facey chat who's in there right now. Thank everybody who's listening to SHR Media. We will be right back in a few moments.
Making a living can be tough these days with so many jobs going overseas. If you love
Melanie, are
numbers
you
and
still
puzzles
there?
and want job security, you can become a tax specialist with an amazing 6-month tax course from Tax Mama. Operate your own tax practice locally or anywhere in the world where there are American taxpayers. It's a great way to write off your trips to visit family for months at a time. Everything you need to pass the IRS 3 special enrollment examinations is included in this course. Visit irsexams.school, and if you need more than 6 months, that's okay. Take your time. You're in the course until you pass the exams or until you unsubscribe and reject Tax Mama's emails.
Right now, you can get the credit you deserve. Just visit MrCreditRepair.biz. Let their expert credit repair specialist remove late payments, charge-offs, collections, even old bankruptcies fast and easy. That's MrCreditRepair.biz. Why go anyplace else? Increase your credit score today. At Mr. Credit, you always get a quality service, all at our everyday discounted price. Stop getting turned down for cars, credit cards, or even new homes. Visit MrCreditRepair.biz today. That's MrCreditRepair.biz. Your credit repair is our #1 priority.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, this is Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Join us for The Right Way with Shannon and Mike, Monday through Thursday from 7 to 9 a.m. right here on SHR Media.
Why are they joining us?
For fun things like sports, politics,
Oh, maybe some news and entertainment?
and all kinds of other things.
Money and recipes and events? All kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so join us Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. here on SHRmedia.com.
From a public locker inside a dilapidated Long Island rail station comes a show designed to piss off liberals using truth, facts, and ridicule. The Lid Radio Show, featuring the conservative voice from the People's Republic of New York, the Lid himself, Jeff Dunnett. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com and Lid Radio. We fight for the truth, justice, and a good kosher T-bone. If you don't listen,
Hillary Clinton might sneak into your bedroom in her housecoat late at night and blame you for her election loss. It's the Lid Radio Show with Jeff Dunitz. Hey girls, Carry Girl Dare's here. More and more women every day are concealed carrying, participating in competitive shooting, and getting firearms training. It's not a boys' club anymore, and we don't have to shop in their stores anymore either. Finally, a cool and unique clothing line just for women. Dope